And a good morning to you. Happy Monday. Lanny Ford, Juju Phillips along with you here on a Monday, August the 8th. It's zipping along, in case you're wondering. Got 73 degrees here at our plush, well-lit studios, thanks to the LED lighting from Duke Power that I paid for. But when they came by and said, would you like to upgrade your lighting? And I'm like, I've been doing it ever since I moved in here because the ballasts don't work, the lights don't work, and it was the old stuff.
Okay.
And they had a really good deal. You had to be in a certain, from what I understand, a certain bill range as far as, like if you were somebody that had an electrical bill of $15,000 a month, you weren't a candidate. They didn't want to save you money. But the smaller, I think there was a range. Of course, my power runs about less than $200 a month here.
Okay.
And I don't really have anything that eats electricity except my equipment and HVAC because I've got a tankless water heater. So they came in, gave me a proposal, 7-year warranty on the bulbs. I wound up paying about 35% of the total cost. Duke Power paid for the rest. And I paid for it over 12 months at no interest. They just drafted my account. And it wound up, they calculated my savings off the lights at about $38 a month. So that first year, I paid about $40, $45 a month for 12 months for the lighting.
Okay.
And then, so after that, I'm saving money. Not counting how nice and bright you can see in here. As you get older like me, you can't see. I got to have enough light to see.
It's not your eyes. It's there's not enough light.
I know.
It's something. No, it's something way that obviously.
I know. No. If I can get enough light on something, even without my old man glasses, I can see it. Mm-hmm. But I got to get enough light on. But if there's no light, I am so screwed. I can't see. I mean, no, I can't see. But that's just me. How was your weekend, sir?
It was good. Went and saw the big concert Saturday.
What concert?
Styx. REO Speedwagon and Loverboy. We didn't get. We stayed outside and tailgated during Loverboy.
And where was it at?
It was over at Verizon Amphitheater there in Charlotte. We stayed outside and underneath the tent because it was raining quite a bit Saturday evening. So we didn't want to brave it, even though we had our ponchos and everything. But we waited until Loverboy finished, and then we packed up everything, put our ponchos on, and headed on up and saw REO Speedwagon. Very good. And then at the very end was Styx, and Styx was just fantastic. They are one of those anthem bands of the 70s.
Except they don't have their original singer.
No, but the guy.
But the guy that's on there, I've seen him. I think I've told you I like to watch the Dan Rather on Access TV.
Okay,
he interviews these bands, and Styx has been one of those that I've watched. Their documentary type question answer stuff, and but yeah, Dennis DeYoung was the original voice, but the guy that's there now, he sounds just
very good, and they played all their songs with the exception of the slow song "Babe." And I went back and did some research, and the reason they don't play it is because the Dennis DeYoung, as you're talking about, that song caused a lot of friction because they made some changes when that song came out, and for some reason it caused a lot of friction. Even though it was the only number one song that Styx ever had, the song "Babe," it caused friction among band members, which they say still
creative
today.
Differences.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what happened with Journey and Steve Perry.
Yeah.
The way they wanted to go, the band was in one direction on what the sound wanted to be. Steve Perry was more into the ballad sound. And I think Styx kind of came off the rails with the Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, that was in the mid-'80s. Yeah, they played that song.
It kind of came off the rails. That was not the Styx you were used to. But you think about Styx and Kansas and Boston and
Foreigner.
Yeah, those were – and Boston –
Chicago.
Boston is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with all the hits that they've got because they said the longevity of the band. But, that's kind of a scapegoat because that didn't stop Jimi Hendrix and – Janis Joplin, even though their careers were cut short, Jim Morrison, the Doors, I think all those guys are in there.
Yeah, it's like a Pro Football Hall of Fame or any other sports Hall of Fame.
It's got to be what you accomplish in the time that you accomplish it.
Yeah.
It's the way it should be.
It's got to be exceptional. And they waited to the very end
to
play Renegade at the very end, and that's the reason I took my terrible towel, and there were several terrible towels there.
Milton, Richie, good morning. Glad to have you guys along with us. Saturday night, I was at the Lincoln County Apple Festival.
Okay.
My youngest, we started that last year. I had never been till last year. This was the 44th. I went to school with the first one. The first one was the fall after I graduated, 1978, and I do the audio. The girls come here. They have for the last 3 years. They come here and record their audio that talks about why they want to be the Apple Queen, and it's played during the evening gown competition with a music bed under it. And so they'd asked me a couple of years ago if I would do that for them, and I did. And I always do it. I threw my list away. I had a list. I had to write down all their names and I had to get them to spell them right for me so I can save it. Then I give it to them on a thumb drive, and they do it. And the place was packed. Wasn't as big a crowd last year. I think that was a COVID thing. But this year it was packed. We were up in the nosebleed at the Lincoln, at the James Warren Senior Center.
I think more and more people just want to be out and be around other people, whatever it might be, concert,
and I'll give you a
whatever.
Funny thing for this. It used to be that was a precursor and a qualifier to the Miss North Carolina pageant. They had to stop because the cost to send the girl to the North Carolina pageant was in the tens of thousands of dollars with the gowns and all the things that you needed. So they made it a scholarship pageant. And the girls sell ads, and it's by the Business Professional Women's Association in Lincoln. And the winner got $3,000 scholarship. Second place got $1,000, and down to third place. And then they had like Miss Congeniality got something, and they had the top ad salesperson got something, and it was like she sold $4,000 worth of ads, and she got a $1,000 scholarship. And then they had one, and I'm trying to think of what it was called, Apple of My Eye, maybe. But it had to do with something else about raising funds, something. I don't remember what it was. Anyway, whatever you raised, you got half of it. This contestant raised $18,000. So she got a $9,000 scholarship check, 3 times what the actual queen got. I thought that was kind of ironic, but there were 18 contestants, a cross-section from all the high schools. Let me think. I don't think East Lincoln had one in this year. I think the rest of them did, plus a homeschool.
Are there Apple festivals like this around the region?
The biggest one's in Hendersonville because that's where most of the packing houses are. The first Apple Festival was actually held at West Lincoln High School. Now it's held in downtown Lincoln.
Okay.
And it's one of the biggest events. It'll draw 30 to 40,000 people in the fall on Saturday. A lot of great food. Organizations cooking, deep fried everything. Yeah. That kind of thing. A lot of entertainment. They'll have a couple of entertainment stages with different groups and singers and bands and stuff. It's neat. Trying to think. Did not have it last year. I think they called it off because of COVID, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, they had the one year I remember you had a bunch of the girls come in here, and we were getting ready to do a show or just finished the show, and you had them lined up.
That was on a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were coming. Yeah. And then the year before that, or one of the years, a lot of uproar. They were calling for a tropical storm to come through on that Saturday, and they called it, and not a drop of rain fell. And there were a lot of people that were really, really upset.
Did y'all get a lot of rain here Saturday?
My understanding is we were at the pageant, but it rained the whole time we were in there. But I was told that there were some people got as much as 3 inches in rain gauges on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I guess, about 4 or 5 o'clock. It came down pretty hard.
And that's why I don't do outdoor concerts.
Okay.
Well,
this time of the year, you're right. I mean, it poured as we drove down there 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we drove down 16. And it was pretty heavy. And by the time we got there, it was still sprinkling, and it rained all the way up until about 8 o'clock Saturday night.
Mikey, good morning. Hope you're feeling better. Mikey had a little accident the other week, and you need to get some things checked. If you hadn't got them checked, make sure everything's okay so you can get back on your feet, my friend. But you need to take care of yourself. Watch any preseason football this weekend?
I did not see any preseason football.
It was not this weekend. That's right. The Hall of Fame game was Thursday.
Thursday night.
Starts this week.
Yeah, starts this week.
We have on WLON tonight at 6:05 very first Panther Talk.
Okay.
And then the Panthers play, I think they play Saturday. If they play Saturday.
Do they play Saturdays now, or do they play Thursdays and Fridays?
It depends.
Yeah.
And
is the new guy going to be hosting Panther Talk?
My guess.
The new play-by-play guy?
Anish, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see.
I did watch
Saturday. They play Saturday this week, Friday next week, and the Friday the next week.
Okay.
The 26th. So those games, the Friday games, the preseason games, we won't have because we got high school football. And high school football is actually going to start this week for us. We're going to cover the county jamboree down at Lincoln.
Okay.
Starts at 5:30 through 8:30, I believe. And
so they scrimmage each other, right?
Yeah, there's 5 different. They don't rotate. There's like 8 or 10 teams going to be there.
Okay.
Everybody has their own opponent. And
so they split the field, right, in half?
I don't know about that, or if they get an hour to themselves. I'm not sure. I'll have to do a little more research. Kiever asked me if we could do it, and I said, yeah, we'll put that on. That's big for us. And then the Panthers will get underway for sure on the 11th of September against the Browns. That's 1 o'clock. You can catch that on.
I got you.
WLON. But we and this is what's weird. This is, this Saturday, that preseason game's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's going to be warm.
And it is in Charlotte?
Mm-mm. It's up in D.C. against the mighty Commanders.
The Commanders.
Yeah. The Admirals, the Commanders.
Wonder why they're doing a Saturday afternoon game, 1 o'clock.
Money.
Wow.
Well, if you think about it, less than a month later, you'll be playing at 1 o'clock anyway. So
on a Saturday?
Well, on Sunday, but still at 1 o'clock.
Would they get bigger crowds on a Saturday afternoon in Washington, D.C.?
Got nothing. Andrew said it's Hickory at Maiden Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, scrimmage at Maiden. Hickory at Maiden. Richie, West Lincoln had close to 90 kids come out. They didn't have enough helmets, from what I understand. So they got to fix that.
Hickory is right at 90 as well.
And then the problem is there's not any. There's no helmets. Not available.
Not available.
To buy. Yeah.
You mean
it's like everything else. There's nothing.
Kind of like new cars, right? You got to order them online and wait and see. Whenever they come in, they come in.
Yep. Andrew, is that the only scrimmage they have Wednesday night? If you'll check on that for me and see. Because I want to say they have another one. I'm just not sure where it's at or when it is, but I think there's another scrimmage.
So 10.
Most of them have 2.
So it would be 7. So the first game is the 19th?
Yes.
I would guess it's probably, unless they scrimmage again on the weekend, right? Go Wednesday and Saturday?
Yeah, that's usually what they do, or even Friday maybe.
Yeah.
Chad said South Caldwell had close to 90 come out.
Yeah.
It's nice to see those kind of numbers return.
I think so.
Everybody's getting numbers they had pre-COVID numbers, if not more, which I think is awesome that those numbers have picked back up. That needs to happen. I'll try to get those teams for you for Lincoln. Anything exciting in the world of sports? The only thing,
there's going to be a story breaking, and I heard it coming in. An assistant coach I don't know if it's made it yet, but there's last night, assistant coach at Oklahoma State, maybe, or Oklahoma. Assistant coach at Oklahoma, who's the brother of the Gundy guy who's at Oklahoma State. They were in a meeting or something. He's a wide receivers coach, and there was an incident that happened during a team meeting nowadays the college kids all got they don't walk around with notebooks with their plays,
tablets.
Everything on tablets. Well, somebody was in a meeting, and one of the kids that wasn't really paying attention, and the head coach or the coach, the wide receivers coach, went over and pulled the tablet away from the kid. I don't know, to embarrass him or whatever, and started reading what he had on his tablet, and the N-word came out. And so it got around, and now the head coach Venables had to.
No.
Yeah, head coach of Venables.
Oklahoma. But he's the brother
of the guy.
I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Oklahoma State.
Somehow I missed that. Okay.
And so apparently they went back and forth. They had meetings and figured things out. And the head coach, he's been there for 30 years, the wide receivers coach. And he's been there 25, 30 years. And so he stepped down.
Wow.
I guess because of the backlash, possible backlash, that you just can't say that word nowadays.
Because wasn't there some issues at Oklahoma State not long ago?
Oh, I don't know about
some racial.
There may have been.
And that's where my mind went when you said Gundy, because I think they had something.
And he had to take a pay cut, right?
I can't remember.
I think 2 years ago he took a pay cut.
Yeah.
This is his brother, and he's the wide receiver coach at Oklahoma, and he has been a guy that has been in the program for 20, 30 years. He was there through the Stoops era, obviously there through Lincoln Riley, and now through Brent Venables. But that story was just breaking. There were some things on social media, former Oklahoma players.
Cale Gundy,
okay.
Okay.
I just caught the tail end of it, but very unfortunate. He apparently put out a statement saying he did not say these words. They were not his. He read them that were on the iPad. And
he's Oklahoma's longest tenured assistant coach, 23 years.
23 years, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you just nowadays you just can't say that word, or you can't repeat it if you are a coach or otherwise. Even though kids do say it all the time, they say, I have a problem with it.
He said the words displayed had nothing to do with football. One particular word that I should never, under any circumstances, was displayed on the screen. In the moment, I did not even realize what I was reading, and when I did, I was horrified. I want to be clear. The words that I read aloud were not my words. What I said wasn't malicious. It wasn't even intentional. Sure, I'm mature enough to know the word that I said was shameful and hurtful, no matter my intentions. This was in a statement that he read.
Yeah, it's tough. It's lose-lose. Because
I had not heard anything about that.
Yeah, it apparently just happened late last night at a team meeting, and you wonder what, kids, think about it. You've been practicing. It's a Sunday night. You're probably tired, late. You're not paying attention. You're doodling, or you're just off task, and hard to keep your attention. And he probably was on his iPad doodling, saying something. I don't know if he was probably writing lyrics, or who knows what he was doing. The word was there, and he wasn't paying attention to what he was supposed to be doing.
Andrew said Maiden at Mooresville Friday night versus West Forsyth.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, versus West Forsyth. So they'll get 2 in.
Yeah.
And it was a shirt that Gundy had on when he was fishing, wearing a QAnon shirt.
Yeah.
That's
what it was.
That's what it was. I couldn't remember. I just knew that it was one of those controversial issues that
and he later admitted he should have been wearing that shirt in the first place.
Mikey wants to know if Biden will stay in Washington on Saturday to show Panthers support or Commanders support or any support.
I have no idea. I don't care one way or another.
Let me take a break, and when I come back, I got a question for you about a picture you shared on Facebook.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or insurancinsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store, with location items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. The picture I was referring to, Juju had shared a picture on Facebook. This would have been the rising seniors for 82-83, your senior year. And I was confused because I was looking for Dan Hardy, but Dan probably graduated because he was my age. You're a year behind me. Donnie Kirkpatrick was in that picture because he got redshirted a year.
He got redshirted a year, and he was a wide receiver wing back. This is a Lenore Rhines football team.
And then Mike Helms was in that picture?
Yeah, Mike was in that picture. A couple other guys that went on to coaching careers. Tim Porch, who's now assistant coach at High Brighton, former head coach at High Brighton as well. But this was I just put it out there in celebration of 40 years, the only time that an LR football team defeated a defending national champion team. We knocked off Elon in 82, 16-7. They'd won the national championship, NAIA national championship in 81. They came into 82 season. I think they were 2-0. They were undefeated and still number one. And we beat them that game.
That was Lenore Rhines NAIA at that time?
We were all NAIA. We had, to be honest, and I'm not bragging because I was on the team, but we had a good squad that year. And if you go back and look and see, the South Atlantic Conference, all NAIA again, we opened our season against Johnson C. Smith. We had 6 turnovers and still only lost by like 3 or 4 points. Probably should have won that game. We came back and beat the number 8 team in the country, Wofford, won at Wofford in Spartanburg. Then came the third game. We came and knocked off the number 1 team, Elon. And then a couple of weeks later, we should have beat Gardner-Webb, which I think at the time was ranked 10th. And we had them beat to the final 30 seconds of the game. They threw a touchdown pass and beat us. And, if it had won those games, probably had a good shot of making the playoffs. And had Carson Newman won the national championship in 82, and we led them in the fourth quarter, ended up losing by 10 points, but we led them in the fourth quarter. Had we beaten Carson Newman and probably beaten Gardner-Webb, probably LR would have been in the playoffs that year. Nonetheless, we finished 6-5, but we had a heck of a tough schedule.
Is NAIA still around?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, so who's in NAIA type?
A lot of schools in the Midwest. The upper Midwest.
Not around here anymore.
No, a lot of those schools are Division III. But NAIA schools, there's some in Georgia where Drew Cronick came from a few years ago. Reinhardt University, there's some schools down there that are NAIA, but I think the majority of NAIA schools now are in the Midwest and upper Midwest.
Okay. Interactive NAIA member school map. That's a great place to go. My computer is so slow today. I can't get it to do anything. There we go. Montreat and St. Andrews and Laurinburg.
Okay, they're the only two.
Mm-hmm, in North Carolina. South Carolina, nobody you'd recognize. Georgia.
There you go.
There's
Reinhardt.
quite a few there. Yeah, Reinhardt University.
Point.
Dalton State. Let's see about Tennessee.
I guess they're
Cumberland University.
Yeah, and Kentucky. Look in Kentucky. There should be a couple of other NAIA schools in Kentucky. I knew there were in the Midwest. Yeah, Georgetown, Kentucky Wesleyan. Pikesville.
Wow. Okay, so that's that Bluefield University in Virginia. So that's a step down below Division III, basically.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't realize that NAIA was still around. That was news to me.
I think they're almost under the umbrella now of the NCAA.
Yeah, so many are. A couple of stories. Kareem Hunt is requesting a trade, wanting a contract extension. Team has privately declined that request. He is in his final year of a 2-year, $12 million deal. Had missed team drills the past 2 practices but returned on Sunday. The news of his trade demand was first reported by Cleveland.com. Stefanski declined comment on Sunday when asked about the trade. I'm not really going to get into really anything that has to do with our players and conversations. Won't get into that. He asked whether Hunt would be fine for sitting out team drills.
No.
Cleveland's interesting to talk about with all the things going on. And speaking of Cleveland, Roger Goodell has appointed a former New Jersey Attorney General, Peter C. Harvey, to hear the appeal. Now, here's what's going to happen. He's going to rule how Goodell wants it.
Oh, yeah.
This time. I mean, that's why this is not right. Now, this was just not a name they picked out of a hat. This guy sits on a committee of 4 that helps the NFL write policy. Okay.
And personal conduct policy.
Yeah, and I don't know if Sue Robinson is on that committee as well. I think it's a joke. I don't think anybody has to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. What happens if this guy comes back and says, yeah, I don't know how I can argue with what she said. I can't find anything legally in what she ruled on to change what's out there.
I don't think it's his job to change or to look at the evidence. I think he's probably going to just look at whether or not is the punishment fit the crime.
Do you not have to consider the evidence?
I think they'll probably consider it. The lady.
There's no news. There's nothing new. He's just going to review what she did.
Sue Robinson pretty much laid it out on how egregious she thought the evidence was, but she had either didn't have the backbone or she just went by what the other cases had given 6 games. They'd gotten rid of the kids for 6 games, but I think probably this guy's going to look again at the evidence and say, and either agree with the punishment or disagree with the punishment and come up with his own. Is it going to be 10 games? Is he going to increase it? Is he going to put a fine in? I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to take long. I think you'll probably hear something this week.
Owners meeting tomorrow or Thursday?
I think so, yeah.
They're thinking something's going to be out before then.
Mm-hmm.
When you're picking who's going to hear it, and you've already made it known.
But this has been collectively bargained. Both sides agreed to all this.
I understand. So can the Players Association then appeal that decision?
No, they said they won't.
No. They said they wouldn't on the first one.
I don't know if there's another appeal process.
So that's what I'm saying. This can go on forever.
I'm sure they have this all figured out, whether or not who can appeal and how many more steps you can take.
Wow. Noting his qualifications, he has deep expertise in criminal law, including domestic violence and sexual assault, and it has advised the NFL and other professional leagues on the development and implementation of workplace policies, including the NFL's personal conduct policy. So will he get the chance to look at the evidence on Dan Snyder and his sexual allegations of harassment?
If it gets that far, I would guess he could be appointed.
He's not going to. No.
They're just going to let it die? And they're probably working behind the scenes to find a new owner.
There's where my whole problem lies is I don't care how many games you give Deshaun. As long as you give everybody the same thing, that's fine. It's the same thing, you know.
There's no way that I would think that they're working behind the scenes to find a new owner for the Commanders.
You think they will force the hand? Yes,
I do. And they haven't been able to find somebody at least that has enough deep pockets.
Mm-hmm. Chad says, where are the Bears picked to finish in conference this year? I want to say close to the bottom. I think Minnesota's going to be
Chicago
the surprise.
Bears or the LR Bears?
The LR Bears. I don't know, Chad. Qualify that question. South Caldwell at Patton versus Drawn. Todd
or the Bunker Hill Bears.
Or the Bunker Hill Bears. Lincoln says, morning, NFL wants to extend the punishment. That's why it got appealed. And when you can continue to pick who you want to listen to it until you get the ruling that you want, there's the problem.
Yeah, it's a little bit. But again, they didn't pick. This is what negotiated.
I understand, but they also negotiated to let an arbitrator decide.
Mm-hmm. They did.
And I don't think that came along well. I don't think that came out well because we're going to let an arbitrator decide unless the arbitrator doesn't come up with what we want to be the outcome.
We can appeal, which is a part of the process. Or they could have just said they could have let the commissioner decide. Let him be the judge and jury.
But that was the whole part of putting that in the bargaining. Yeah. But if the commissioner doesn't like what the ruling was, he gets to pick somebody else.
No, this is a one-time appeal, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think I read somewhere this is a one-time appeal. You just can't keep saying, okay, we don't like this ruling. We're going to appeal it again.
But you're going to say that so the NFL has the final word.
As far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it's all a joke.
No, they're private organization. If they were a public organization, it'd be different.
But they're still a joke. It's still a joke because we're going to write it to where we control it. And I understand most contracts are written in favor of the person that writes the contract. I get that. Mm-hmm. But I just think it was stupid to have this arbitrator and then –
And the Players Association agreed. They could have said no thank you.
Yeah, but that wasn't any good because Goodell was still in control. It's like this is a farce to get out there. Okay, we're going to put this out here, but you really don't – this really don't count. Because if we don't like what the first one says, we're going to change it.
I wonder if this would have been different had Deshaun Watson not taken a year's salary and sat out all last year. But
he sat out because of his disagreements with the Texans.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And what happens if the Texans decided not to pay him?
They had that right.
I know.
I mean, if I understood right, like I think it was Le'Veon Bell. Was he once set out all year before he finally got traded, but he had to come back by week 10 because if he didn't get credit for that year.
Yes.
So I'm assuming Deshaun stayed on the active roster and just didn't participate?
I think so.
So he got credit for his year and got paid? Because Le'Veon Bell wouldn't have got paid.
$20-some million. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, no timeline when he will hear the appeal.
I think I'm almost positive that wherever the Browns play their first preseason game this week, is it this week? Is it a home game? They have a home game, I believe.
Who's that?
The Browns. They're not going to wait on this ruling and let Deshaun Watson play and start in a couple of preseason games. I think they're going to rule right now. And they're not going to wait. They're not going to drag it out.
Yeah, they're just going to give Goodell what he wants and be
done with it.
Yeah.
and start whatever the maybe they'll go up to 8 games. Maybe they'll go to 10 games. And maybe they'll add a fine.
Who gets the fine?
I would guess Deshaun Watson gets the fine.
No. Who gets the
money?
Yeah.
I would guess some type of charity involving with battered women or sexual harassment, stuff like that.
I don't know if you read this, and I am not defending Deshaun Watson. Please, that's not what I'm doing. I just want to know that everything is transparent in how it's handled. In issuing the 6-game suspension, Sue Robinson wrote this, and I quote, "The NFL carried its burden to prove by a preponderance of evidence that Mr. Watson engaged in sexual assault as defined by the NFL against the 4 therapists identified in the report." Not the 25 that had the lawsuits, but the 4 therapists.
3 of which were just paid off last week, a couple weeks ago.
However, in imposing the suspension, Robinson pointed out flaws in the league's guidelines for player misconduct, which limited her authority to penalize him.
Okay.
So she's saying she couldn't do more because of the way the league had it structured.
Correct.
So how can somebody else come in and say, well, yeah, we can, because that's what Goodell wants? How would they not come up with the same legal finding that the league has flaws in its guidelines for player misconduct?
So you're saying a judge is saying there are some loopholes?
The league didn't tie up all the loose ends.
Okay.
While relying on precedent, Robinson sought to differentiate between violent and nonviolent sexual conduct. Robinson concluded that Watson's conduct does not fall into the category of violent contact that would require the minimum 6-game suspension the league had established as by far the most commonly imposed discipline for domestic or gender violence or sexual acts.
But his nonviolent behavior allowed him to do it over and over and over and over and over again and over again.
Mm-hmm. But what she's saying, there's nothing in the guidelines.
Yeah, they didn't write this in. I understand.
Right. And I'm not. I'm just. I just.
It would have been it would have been easier for her and anybody else going forward to come up with a punishment had this been considered violent.
That's right. That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
What is worse?
And I'm not taking anything away from what happened or what went on. Okay, not in the least. I just like for everybody to be treated the same.
Well, because this is they're setting precedents here, you have nothing to compare it to.
She said based on the crime. Yeah. Not the number, but based on the crime.
A nonviolent offender. Yeah. There's nobody out there you can compare a nonviolent
And I hope there's
act.
Never anybody else that you can compare
to.
You're
right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do too. So make that clear too. Link said it'd be awesome if the Browns won the Super Bowl.
I don't think it's happening.
I don't think it's happening. I'll give you my dark horse one day. Let me take a break. We come back. Juju's going to tell us about where LR is picked to be in the conference. Back in a moment.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, and then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Steve Nicholas can assist you. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Steve Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
I'm not sure, but I think we did just
solve some problems.
Yeah, we solved a lot of the world's problems just then during that break.
Yeah.
So, hate you missed it, but yeah, we solved a lot during that break. All right, talk a little bit about Lenore Ryan and what's expected of them.
Well, I think the expectations are pretty high for them to be a contender in the South Atlantic Conference and then a playoff team.
Do they have a quarterback yet?
No, they don't. That's the biggest question. It's going to be the most interesting, I think, battle, if you want to call it a battle, but the most interesting competition going on the entire team. And I'll probably post something later this week about it because they start practicing this week, is if you go back and look through the last 10, 15 years, they have had some stability at the quarterback position, except for, there was a 1 or 2 year period about 2015, 2016, where they had some not very good quarterback play, but they have not gone. LR is going to go into this season. They'll have, I think, 6 or 7 kids on the roster that play quarterback. Of those 6 or 7, that includes 2 or 3 guys that are coming in as freshmen. They have combined total of 1 start of college football. And that one start occurred in the spring of the season we had in 2021. So they have very little experience at the quarterback position. They have 4 guys fighting for the starting job, probably between 2 guys, neither of which have started a college game in their life. So that's going to be the number one question. As for the rest of the league, I think the league's going to be almost like rebuilding, Lanny. They lost a lot of upperclassmen over the last couple of years. And were I to bet, and I'm thinking it'll come out this week, the preseason rankings, LR will be either first or second, and I'm guessing number 1 because they do have a lot of returning players.
In the conference.
Okay. They're 15th and 16th in a couple of preseason national polls, but I'm guessing LR and Newberry will be the 2 teams to watch to beat, along with probably Wingate. Even though Wingate replacing their quarterback, replacing a couple other key performers, Newberry is the defending conference champions. They lost their quarterback and some other players, but they seem to reload each and every year. My guess is it's going to be either Newberry or Lenore Ryan. They're going to be 1-2, 2-1 whenever the rankings come out, and I think they come out this week.
Richie said what happened to last year's quarterback. He aged out, Richie. He turned 34 in the offseason.
Yeah.
He's been there forever, Grayson Willingham. He 6 years?
Yeah, 6
with
years.
the COVID and the other stuff. Yeah. So that's what happened.
Redshirted 1 year, yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened. He aged out. He's not 34, but I
think you have to go back to Fred Goldsmith's first season. And the only reason I tie that in, that was in 2007. That was the week after Appalachian beat Michigan. That week, Lenore Ryan had I think that was the first game under Coach Goldsmith in 2007. Maybe it was the second year. I'm not sure. But they played Appalachian the next week, and that was game number 2. By that time, LR was already on their 3rd quarterback. And by that game, I think another one got hurt. So they were down to their 3rd or 4th quarterback. Right. And it's been that long. It's been 15 years that they've had this much instability at the quarterback position. But they certainly have depth and talent in other positions, wide receiver, offensive lines, pretty veteran group coming back. They'll have to rebuild their defensive line a little bit. They lost some key players, linebackers pretty good. And in their secondary, they brought in some transfers, but their secondary is going to be pretty good. The other big question is their kicker. They lost their record-breaking kicker. He graduated as well. But in their special teams, there'll be some question marks there. But that and quarterback for LR will be the top 2 question marks coming in.
Okay. I'm going to step outside sports for just 1 second. There's a birthday today. Keith Carradine. You know who Keith Carradine is?
Kung Fu?
That's his half-brother, David.
Okay.
Their dad, John Carradine, great actor, and he has a brother. They have a brother, Robert Carradine, okay? Do you know what he's famous for, what acting role he's famous for?
I do not. Give me a clue. Can you give me a clue?
The kind of movies that I would watch, the teenage, I call them the teenage sex comedies. They're mindless. They're just fun. And they had 2 or 3 or 4 sequels.
What kind of movie?
2 or 3, and it's based on college life. It starts out as based on college life.
Okay. Like Animal House and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that kind of movie. But
Porky's?
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Okay, one of them was help me with the guy from Top Gun. Goose, wasn't he one of the nerds?
Yes, he was.
The other one was Robert Carradine.
Okay,
he was the main character.
Okay.
But, yeah, he's a brother of those guys. And then the other thing that you may not remember about David is he had a song, a pop song.
I do
in
remember
1975,
that.
I'm Easy. It was in the movie Nashville. But he won
Easy
a golden
Sunday morning?
Yeah. No.
Easy like Sunday morning.
No, that's the wrong one.
Okay.
And then he was he won a Golden Globe and an Oscar for Best Original Song, which I thought he could play any instrument. He played French horn, bagpipes, whatever. Just a very talented guy.
Yeah.
And I guess the one that you would recognize the most from was he played Let me find it here. He played President Conrad Dalton in the TV series Madam Secretary, which was she took over, I think, as president, if I'm not mistaken.
Madam Secretary.
Yep, I think it was on CBS. He played Wild Bill Hickok on the Deadwood series on HBO. And
yeah, I know. I recognize that.
Yep.
Is that his face right there?
Yep. He's another one that.
Oh yeah.
Great character actor.
Yeah.
You know, but just thought I'd bring that up. Also, Dustin Hoffman turns 85 today. And
he's so funny in the movie with the Fockers.
Yes.
Meet the Parents, Meet the Fockers.
He's hilarious.
Little Fockers.
And then I thought he was good in Rain Man. I mean, that was an awesome movie. Do you know who Larry Wilcox is?
He ended up being the God Focker.
Yes, he did. Do you remember who Larry Wilcox is?
Larry Wilcox.
That's his real name.
Larry Wilcox.
Yeah. He had a partner in his show called Punch.
Vaguely.
Chips.
Okay.
The
blonde hair guy?
Yep.
Okay.
He played John Baker on Chips. He's 75 today. And then here's one. Ralph Malph.
Yes, indeed.
Turned 69 today.
Happy Days.
Donnie Most from Happy Days turns 69 today.
What a cast that was.
Yes, and how they actually made it. Richie said, has anyone watched The Captain on ESPN? It's good. No. What's it about?
Derek Jeter.
Oh, okay.
In his days as a New York Yankee.
Okay.
I've just caught glimpses of it, and I'm sure it'll be repeated often. Yeah, it's pretty good. It is pretty good. And baseball is a lot different than basketball and football players. Baseball players normally don't seek the limelight. So if you are doing a documentary and I go back to this.
Even in today's baseball?
Yeah, if you go back to last week's trade deadline and that big trade that the Nationals made, and they sent their best player, Juan Soto, to San Diego. Mm-hmm. Well, he had been he's probably one of the 2 or 3 best players in baseball right now, and he did not hold a press conference until a day and a half later. And if that would have happened in basketball, they'd have had. You're not going to see Juan Soto doing commercials. You're not going to see him.
Yeah, but they do want to get paid.
They do want to get paid.
They want their $500 million.
But you just don't see baseball players do the kind of things that you see other sports stars do in terms of promotions and advertisements and all that kind of thing.
Not until retirement.
Not until retirement.
The
correct.
Big Hurt.
Yeah.
Catfish Hunter used to be in those old Lewis F. Harrelson commercials.
Okay.
Yeah. After
Miller Lite commercials.
Yeah. Afterwards. Yeah.
And they make so much money now.
Boog Powell.
Yeah.
That was another.
They make so much money now. They don't really care about that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But baseball does not do a really great job of promoting their own players. And
are they last in individual promotions of the big 3?
I would think so. Yes.
Behind the NFL and the NBA.
Yes.
I don't remember who said it so many times, but David Stern was the commissioner that figured out that it was not the name on the front of the jersey; it was the name on the back of the jersey.
And it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily the fault of baseball. It's just because they play every single day, and players don't have the time probably, and it's because of the day-to-day grind. You're putting in time and behind the scenes. They're not going out and seeking the limelight or seeking the glory or wanting to get the biggest, except for getting paid to play. They're not going out like either football players or basketball players. It's just a different mindset, baseball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. Richie said, useless trivia for you. Do you know that there was a band named from Chips? Their hit song was Cumbersome. Can you name the band? I've never heard of that.
Me either.
I've never heard of that, Richie. That's a new one. I was not a Chips guy.
NBC,
some of those shows back in the day like that, I liked Emergency. I like Adam 12. Cedar Man won Adam 12. That was one of mine.
What was the one with William Shatner and Heather Locklear? He played
T.J. Hooker.
T.J.
Yeah.
T.J. Hooker.
T.J. Hooker. Yeah.
Heather Locklear.
Okay, I had to look it up. I had to look it up, Richie. I'll make sure nobody has answered it. Here's what I'm coming up with. The hit song "Cumbersome" is a song by an American rock band named Seven Mary 3. That must have been a call sign. Is that a call sign, Richie?
It might be.
Must be a call sign. Let's see.
This is Rabbit Hole Monday is what we're doing right now, our segment.
Yeah. And I guess that's what it is. 7 Mary 3, a one-hit wonder of the 90s, it says. If I got the right group? If I got the right group?
I don't know.
They're a grunge band. That looks a little bit too late for Chips. Maybe Richie's got some more information for me because I don't know about that. 7 Mary 3 would sound like a call sign or something.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Let's see. Panther Talk coming up at 6:05. I won't say 7. It used to be 7:05. Now it's 6:05. I think
they're going an hour earlier nowadays?
Yeah, but you have the flexibility to run it up till 8:05 on Mondays. Like you can time shift it. Well, you time shift it on the receiver.
Okay.
But we'll run it at 6:05 because I got Braves right behind it. So
yeah.
It's easier for me to run it early than late.
Are the Braves playing tonight?
Not tonight, but they will next Monday.
Yeah.
They're off today and Thursday this week, if I'm not mistaken.
They're licking their wounds after the weekend. Tough series against the Mets.
And I think
5-game series.
I think they've got the Red Sox tomorrow and Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they got to bounce back.
Yeah.
They're 6.5 games out. I don't know if they'll catch the Mets or not.
There we go. Richie said that's it. When Baker and Ponch would get their call, they would answer LA 7 Mary 3. So it was
okay. You were right.
But I didn't see anywhere in their Wikipedia write-up that said anything about referencing back. But
there you go again. Wikipedia, not accurate. They got to get that accuracy part about it.
I love Wikipedia. I don't care if it's real. Just tell me something. Give me something to talk about.
And there ends our segment on Rabbit Hole Monday.
Rabbit Hole Monday. I'm sure I can come up with some more.
I'm sure you could. We could.
There's more.
Did you watch any of the NFL Hall of Fame speeches Saturday?
No.
You know, they changed up the format. Mm-hmm. They normally start them on Saturday night, and they drag out. And they've gotten to a point now where I think they tell each person you have, even though they saved Dick Vermeil to the very end, and he talked for 23 minutes. And I pay attention to that kind of stuff, having done the Catawba County Sports Hall of Fame for 20 years. He went off script. You can tell he was looking at the monitors, and a lot of them have it already written out for them. They're just following along and reading the script. But he went off script, and maybe they saved until the very end.
I told you last year because the last couple of years I've emceed the Lincoln County Sports Hall of Fame. We got 2 classes in 2 hours. We were there for 3, but the meal was 6 to 7, and we start the ceremony at 7. Mm-hmm. And by 9, we were done. We went through 2 classes, and everybody spoke, which was pretty good.
How do you tell Dick Vermeil to keep it to 8 minutes or 10 minutes?
I don't know.
I mean, Tony Baselli was good. He talked for 8 to 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Leroy Butler, the guy that came up with the Lambeau Leap, he was the original guy that first guy to jump in the stands for the Packers. He was one of the first, and he talked for 6 minutes, 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Very good. Straight to the point. But, Dick Vermeil was in the league, 3 teams, took 3 teams to the playoffs, 2 Super Bowl teams, and he was fantastic, but he went a little bit long.
Mm-hmm. Well, they'll keep working on it.
But, again, it was in the afternoon, and people weren't having to stay up till midnight to listen to him.
I was correct. 7 Mary 3, according to Milton, is a unit number, just like 1 Adam 12.
I want to make a quick comment. We got this text about Julian Edelman.
Yes.
And his stats, Hall of Fame worthy, Pro Football Hall of Fame worthy. He'll get some consideration, but very similar to Hines Ward.
Later on, he may get in. He won't get in early if he gets in.
Yeah. Even though, wonderful numbers, wonderful career, self-made.
Hall of Fame and everything else is nothing but opinions about people, whether you feel like it depends on who's on the panel and those kind of things.
123 guys, I think, vote. You got to get the consensus. That's for sure.
And do they take the top so many? Is that the way it works in the NFL? Or you got to have so many votes.
You got to have a percentage, I believe, and they take the top 5 in terms of modern players. They have a veterans committee and all that other stuff, contributors. And
yeah, I'm going to say it. I didn't exactly agree with love Sam Mills, love what he accomplished, love what he accomplished with all the adversity. I didn't consider him a Hall of Fame player.
I think they threw in the fact that he had some really great years in the USFL.
This is the NFL Hall of Fame.
It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Oh.
In Canton, Ohio, Pro Football Hall of Fame.
So is there anybody that's never played in the NFL been in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Mm-hmm.
There he is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't think of his name, but he came and spoke to the Catawba County Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay.
All offensive lineman with the Buffalo Bills. Never played it down in the NFL, but he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
But you said Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo Bills, the AFL.
You can't count that because that did get rolled in.
But he never played.
Because the merger had not happened.
Correct.
But that's okay.
Billy Shaw.
Because you've got players pre-merger that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I can't imagine there's not another AFL. I'll look at it.
He is the only player. And I believe he was proud of it. He's the only player in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that never played a down in the NFL.
Okay.
You can look him up, Billy Shaw.
We'll continue that discussion. Have a great day. Happy Monday.